Tonight, a petition drive is underway designed to protect abortion rights in the state.
Hundreds of volunteers are ready to start collecting signatures. They're hoping to get enough to put expanded abortion access on the ballot next year. Our Bella Caracta is in the newsroom with what she learned at today's launch for that campaign.
John, Erin, today we got a closer look into what this process has looked like so far for the group called Protect Our Rights and what it'll look like over the next few months going into the 2024 election year.
I have no doubt that we will succeed in this effort.
Protect Our Rights is an effort to put abortion rights to a vote in Nebraska.
This campaign is about giving Nebraskans back the power to make those decisions.
The current law signed this May by Governor Jim Pillen bans abortion past 12 weeks. However, 7 states across the nation have put abortion rights to a public vote and succeeded, the latest being Ohio.
You know, we've seen time and time again, especially with Ohio, just last week, that when you put abortion on the ballot, voters will protect their rights. And so Nebraska is no different.
The petition states that all persons shall have a fundamental right to abortion until fetal viability. Fetal viability being defined as when there's a significant likelihood that the fetus can survive outside the uterus without extraordinary measures. The amendment would leave that to be determined by a medical professional.
The purpose of having this language built allows us to tailor this to meet the patient need where it is.
According to medical journals such as the Journal of Maternal, Fetal, and Neonatal Medicine, fetal viability is generally between 23 or 24 weeks, though there isn't a true consensus. Anti-abortion leaders say they're concerned that the language is too vague.
Now you're defining it so broadly that it can encompass that second and third trimester, which I know Nebraska values don't embrace.
At the official launch, we found out people will be able to sign the petition as early as next week. On your side, Bella Caracta, 6 News.
The signatures have to be submitted by July of next year. The group needs 125,000 valid signatures to get the amendment on the ballot.